Hello, I'm Ninny. If you're watching this video today, that means that you are interested in learning how to make napkin greeting cards. Hopefully you've purchased our kit, but if not, we do have napkin greeting card kits available at nannysnapkins.com, or you may already have these items in your craft stash. So I'm just going to quickly go through what comes in the kit. So when you receive your kit, you are going to have a 60 ml bottle of Fusion's Decoupage transfer gel. You're going to have a glue tape. It may or may not look like this. It's also called a tape runner. You're going to get a 1-inch foam brush. And this kit is enough to make 5 cards. So you're going to receive 5 blank white cards. These are 5-inch by 7-inch. You're going to receive 5 envelopes that will hold these cards. You're going to get 5 4x6 white pieces of cardstock, and we wanted to give you some different options for colors and napkins. So while there's enough there to make 5 cards, we have given you assorted 10 colors. These may or may not be the exact colors that you get in your kit, but there will be 10 assorted pieces of cardstock and 8 napkins. Now you're going to receive 1 panel from a napkin, but 8 different images in the theme of the kit that you have chosen. So this one is a Christmas theme. We also have an animal theme, a holiday theme. We have, I think, just a random theme. There's quite a few, maybe an Easter one. There's quite a few different themes that you could choose. And again, these are the napkins in the kit may vary. So they may or may not be these exact 8 designs. But you basically are going to pick your 5 favorites from here. Which is why we've given you 8, because if you don't absolutely love all 8 designs, that's okay, you only need 5. The other things that you're going to need that are not included in the kit are an iron. So you can actually use a big iron like this, that's totally okay. Or if you have a nice little craft iron, that's even better. But any kind of iron will do. You're going to need a pair of scissors, nice sharp scissors. And you're going to need 2 pieces of parchment paper or wax paper. And they should be approximately this size, maybe about, a little bit bigger than a napkin is okay. But once you see what I'm doing here, you'll understand how big you need it. Bigger would be fine as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. So the very first thing you're going to do is set down one of your pieces of parchment. And we're going to grab the little 4x6 white pieces of cardstock and our Decoupage transfer gel. Now I already have a large one open, so I'm going to be using that today. But again, you're going to get the 60 ml in your kit, which will be more than enough to do 5 napkins. So you want your sponge brush. And you're going to apply a generous amount of the Decoupage and transfer gel onto this white card. You don't want big globs, but you also don't want any dry places on this card. You want to make sure you get a generous coating. And you're going to continue this step for all 5 of your white pieces. Now, if you have a blow dryer or a heat tool, you can speed up this process. These cards are going to bow because they're wet. That's okay. We're going to be ironing them, and that will solve that. And it's possible, if it's warm, that by the time I'm done the 5th one, the first one will be already dry. If you want to have another large piece of parchment set aside for you to place these on, that's okay too. As you can see, this really doesn't take very long. And there we go, that's 5 done. And the decoupage and transfer gel is water-based, so it is just a water wash-up, soap and water wash-up. So I'm just going to throw this in a cup of water and I will wash it later. Don't allow this to dry on your sponge brush. So I'm going to set that aside. And now you can go ahead and discard this piece of parchment. It's got glue all over it. We don't need to use it anymore. So while those are drying, if you didn't use your heat tool and you're just going to let them air dry, you can go ahead and get started separating your napkins. So good quality napkins, like the ones that we carry at Nenny's Napkins, always have a total of 3 napkin layers. So they have the top printed layer, and then they have 2 white backing layers. Actually, funny enough, it's not white on that one. They have 2 white backing layers. So something else you may need that I didn't mention is a little piece of tape. You can use painter's tape, you can use scotch tape, any kind of tape you have lying around. And what this is going to do is make it a little bit easier for you to separate your napkin plies. If you're struggling, sometimes they come apart really easily. So what you do is flip your napkin over and put this right on the corner of the white part of the napkin. And then the layers should come apart really easily. Now I'm going to show you how you know, because sometimes these 2 white backing layers will come off at once, and sometimes they'll come off separately. Obviously this one's separately, so I know that I've gotten both layers off. But if you're unsure, I will show you. When there's 2 white backing layers still on a napkin, you can barely see the image through the backing. It's almost completely white. Once you remove the first layer, it's still actually quite white. You can barely see the image at all, but it is starting to show through. But once you remove that second layer, your napkin image showing through is almost as bright as it is on the front. You can make out clear details and colors. So that's how you know if you've gotten enough layers off, and it is very important to remove all of the layers or else you're going to get a lot of wrinkling. And this goes for the same with the decoupage. So I'm going to go ahead and remove the layers from all of them, and I can use the same piece of tape a couple of times. So there's one layer. This is a very unique napkin that it doesn't have a white backing, it's beige. I've never seen that before. Now, if you buy cheaper napkins anywhere, if you ever go to the dollar store, they may actually only have a total of 2 layers, which would be 1 printed layer and 1 white backing layer. But as I said, every single napkin that we carry here at Nenny's has a total of 3 plies. And get myself a new piece of tape here. I'll just do 2 more. I'm not going to do them all since we're only making 5 cards. So as I said, we do have napkin greeting card kits available, excuse me, at nennysnapkins.com. And you can purchase one and follow along with this video. Or perhaps that's why you're here. Maybe you already purchased your kit. Either way, thank you for watching and thank you for joining us. This is just a very, very basic beginner's card making. Basically, I just want to show you how you're going to apply napkins to your cards with the iron method. Oh, I should plug my iron in. So this is a good time to plug your iron in and get it started warming up. Now you're probably going to ask me, what setting do you use? Since every iron is different, that's almost impossible to say. You can start on a lower setting and see if it works for you. This iron has 1, 2, and 3. I'm not very patient, so I usually use 3, but I would imagine, honestly, any setting would be fine. So now we're going to grab one of these dried white layers with the glue on it. And we're going to take our first napkin and lay it over top. Now you should be able to see the card nice and clearly through the napkin, so you can position it. Now remember, you can make cards horizontally or vertically. So I'll show you. These cards, you just, they already have a score line, you just fold them in half. So of course you can make a card that opens this way or this way. But so for this card, I like to make this one horizontally. But you could just as easily just use 2 of these snowmen and make a vertical card. We could even get that little poinsettia there on the corner, and that looks nice too. Or do these 2 snowmen instead. But I want all 3 snowmen, and I don't mind losing the poinsettias. So I'm going to put them like this. Now, you need that second piece of clean parchment, and you're going to lay it over top. Depending on the surface you're working on as well, you may even want to put a protective layer down on your table, or maybe even do it on an ironing board if you own such a thing. So for this little iron, when the light goes green, that means that it's ready. And we're just going to run it over top a few times. It really doesn't take much. Okay, this one's got a little base. I'm going to put it back on the base. Lift that up and just see if it's stuck down. And if not, we're just going to set the parchment back over top and iron again. But it's stuck down, and as you can see, that really only took a few seconds. So I'm going to go ahead and do the other 4. So for the penguins, I'm going to do them vertically. Lost my parchment. If you don't have an iron already handy at your house, you should be able to find one for reasonably cheap at a thrift store, or even on Amazon or your local Walmart. As I said, you can use one of these little craft irons, or you can use a big iron for ironing your clothing. Really doesn't matter. There, that one's stuck down. This one could probably go either way, but I think I like it like this, horizontally, or sorry, vertically. A silicone mat on your table would be a really good way to protect the table as well. Now, something I've noticed, I did rip that napkin a little bit, and the reason for that is because I still have a couple of globs of wet decoupage gel. So it is very, very important that your decoupage gel is completely dry before you start ironing. So I'm just using my Ranger Heat It tool. So learn from my mistakes. Make sure this is completely dry before doing your ironing, because I don't know if you can see here, these parts were wet, so they actually stuck to the parchment and peeled off. So I'm going to allow those to continue drying off to the side, and we're going to move on to the next steps with these 3 that we've already done. So the next thing is we want to trim this to the size of the card. So that's where the scissors come in. And you're just going to flip this over. Now, if you find this difficult, especially you do need really good sharp scissors, but if you find it difficult to cut a straight line here, or to get enough of the excess off, there is also always the option of folding these back and gluing them onto the back of your card. It's not my preferred method, but there's always options, right? There's never a right or wrong way to do things when we're crafting. There is just what works best for you. Sometimes I even cut a little tiny bit into the cardstock. There we go, that's pretty clean. So we'll do that again on this one, just flip it over. I have even seen people take a nail file and file along this edge and cut the napkin that way. At the end of this video, I'll show you some things that you can use to further embellish your cards. As I said, this is just a very, very basic beginner's card. I just wanted to show you the method of adhering your napkin onto your card, but there are a million ways you can customize and embellish these cards. You can add glitter or little gemstones. You can add your own sentiments. You could add, we have Ranger Glossy accents. And I will put links in the comments below this video, or sorry, in the description box below this video, to some other things that you could add to your card making stash. And a lot of these things are good for your decoupage projects as well. So there's those 3. A little bit more up there. So the next step, now we don't need the iron anymore, we're going to unplug the iron. The next step is choosing your colored backing. So as I said, we've given you 10 color choices. So I'm just going to lay them out here. And I did mention that your colors will vary. You may receive different colors in your kit. But you should be able to, with 10 different colors, be able to find a color that matches your napkin. So then you just need to audition them on the background. So I think this red one works really well, but how about the green one? It brings out the green in these leaves. That's really nice too. But I think I'm going to leave it on the red for now. I do have other colors here, but I ran out of room. The penguins I think look really nice on the blue. And again, there's no right or wrong answer here. It's whatever you like. Whatever looks good to you. I think they'd also be good on red. And I do have a second red here. Yeah, I think I'm going to put them on the red. And then we have these gray snowmen, which again would also look good on the red. I think for the Christmas packs, the red is very popular, but they also look really good on this gray. I've got a darker gray here. Oh, I really like that. I think that's the one I'm going to go with. So I'm going to move the rest of these out of the way. And of course, you can always save the spare cardstock and napkins for other projects. So this is where the glue runner comes in. We've tried a lot of different ways of gluing these down. We've used double-sided tape, we've used matte glues in fine bottles. The tape runner just simply seems to be the easiest. So if you've never used one of these before, they're a lot like the whiteout. There used to be, well, I guess they still make them. There's whiteout runners that are similar to this. So you just remove this cap. So you just try and run it really close to the edge of your white card. And for good measure, maybe you just want to put a little bit across the middle as well. And you might want to stand up to try and line this up. You want to try and get that centered on there, but you really can just eyeball it. So there, how cute is that? That looks really nice. I'm going to do the same thing again. This is a really nice thick glue runner, tape runner. Nice wide is what I mean. And don't worry if your first cards don't turn out perfect. Remember, this is a beginner's class. This is teaching you how to make these cards so that you can go forth and continue to do so and have success in the future. So, I mean, it's rarely does anybody's first attempt at anything come out totally perfect. Like, I just had sticky stuff on my finger and I touched that napkin there. So I can probably just iron that down again after, but I said I'm already missing some pieces on this one. And now we just need to attach these pieces to our cards. So you're just going to take this card, and it does have an indented score line in the middle. And you'll see it's kind of outdented on the outside. So we're going to have the outdented part out here. You just fold that. So now, like I said, for this napkin, we could really do the card this way. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Just make sure, if you're going to do your napkin card this way, that you have the opening in the right spot so that you don't have a card that opens upside down. But I think I'm actually going to do this one this way. So again, we're just going to take this tape runner and apply some of the tape all the way around the edges. And maybe one across the middle as well. And there you go. That was pretty easy, eh? Now they just fit into these envelopes. And you've got a beautiful handmade greeting card. You can write your own message inside, or you can print one off of the computer. So now I'm going to show you some of the things that you could use to embellish your cards. So to further embellish your cards, you could use things like this Stamperia contour liner, which is kind of like a very fine line puffy paint that comes in numerous different colors: gold, silver, rose gold. Or we have Cosmic Shimmer 3D Pearl accents, which is kind of a similar thing. It comes in multiple colors as well. You could tie some ribbon on your card and then add some little metal charms. We have a number of different ones from Studio Light. There's adhesive gems and pearls that you could add. We have different sentiments that you can cut out and stick on the fronts of your cards or on the inside. These ones are not adhesive. You just cut them out and glue them on. You can use your tape runner for that. Glossy accents is really cool. This is like a kind of like comes out like a glue. It's a very fine tip, and it will make little dots of 3D clear gloss finish. So it gives it a little bit of a texture. And if you wanted to say enhance something, like on these snowmen, maybe you wanted to put it on their cheeks and then they'd have little shiny bits on their cheeks. And there's another contour liner, and that's the iridescent one. So lots of different ways. And of course, if you have a die cutting machine, I mean, then the possibilities are truly endless. But as I said, I'll leave a link in the comments to some of these items in case you want to purchase them additionally. And I'll leave a link to the kit as well, the card making kit, in case you don't have one of those already. But thank you so much for watching the video, and I hope that you have learned something today, and I really hope that you enjoyed this tutorial and you will give napkin greeting card making a try.